Hello, friends.
Is it ready?
Now we're hello, friends.
Hello friends, welcome to our deck. We are really enjoying having this nice big deck in the back of the house, but as you saw a moment ago, it always gets covered with leaves this part of the year. Every day we have to take a ton of leaves off it, right? It is not a good place to watch the weather because it doesn't have a roof. So on today's project we're going to work on building a roof. Now there are a couple of interesting things and I will take you here to show you those things. We already have posts, but they're not long enough,
Tall enough.
tall enough, long enough. They're not enough. They're unenough. So, what we're going to do, we're going to extend them,
Okay.
which sounds perfect, right?
Yeah.
What might be the problem with extending the posts?
Well, how do you do that? Because
you
they're
do
two
that?
different pieces of wood. How do you do that?
This is how we do that. Now, here's the interesting thing. We can use pocket screws in four sides and then put plugs, because again, it will be painted, so you will not see the pocket screw. The loads on this will never be sideways. The loads on this are always going to be downwards, right?
Okay.
It's going to have a substantial weight on it. However, we don't want accidentally someone leaning on it and knocking the roof off, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to put a middle post on the existing post and the top post.
A middle post on the
Yeah.
existing post?
Yeah, it'll be like a spike for the new post to rest on.
Okay.
It'll be driven into the existing post.
Okay.
But the critical thing, because we want them to line up, is that they're perfectly centered, both on the new post and on the old post, right?
Okay.
So to do that, we are working on a little jig, and that will allow us to locate, and this is our prototype. We need, it is a little too big, as you can see, so we're working on another one that will be just the right dimension, right?
Okay.
So what that will do, we're going to mark the side, so if we say this is our reference side, on the new post will have to be the same reference side. Does it make
Okay.
sense?
Yeah.
So then when we put the two together, they're going to fit perfectly, right?
Okay, but what does this do for us?
It allows to have a perfect alignment.
Okay. But what does it mean? Does it mean the other post is going to go here and this piece is going to here and keep them
No,
there?
this is just a jig. This is
Okay, but what is the jig for?
the jig is for the jig is for
The jig is up, man. Tell us. What's the jig for?
it actually makes this a little bigger, so when we put the drill press here, this is too small for our drill press.
Right.
So this is in essence going to extend it a little bit.
So what you're saying is this is going to provide a larger platform and a point of reference so that every single time we drill a hole, we're going to be perfectly in the center
Right.
with that drill press, which is a portable drill press, not like the big one. And this is an attachment that you have where you attach a portable drill that allows
Right.
you to drill straight down.
Correct. Show you how we're going to use this jig. Here it is, and again, this is the first one, and we're not going to use this because it's a little too loose.
So this is not the actual jig we're going to use. You've built another one, but we're using this to demonstrate the
Right.
process.
It's about an eighth too big. I don't know if you can see it here,
Yeah.
but as a result,
So it's got some play.
we will not be perfectly square. Because the way this works, if you see this here, this is too big. We cannot attach it to anything. But when we add this, perfection, right? You see, we can actually.
And then it's got bolt holes that you can
Right.
bolt it there, and it'll be the same every single
So
time.
every time this is in essence going to allow us to be centered every time without having to measure. Alternatively, we can use something like this and measure every time, right? And make our marks and. But even that, measurement sometimes makes mistakes, right?
And so what about this neat little gadget here?
What neat little thing.
This one.
What about it?
I don't think we've used it before. Let's
I
talk
don't
about
know.
it. Let's talk about it.
Well, it is I've talked about it, but I don't think
Okay.
we've used it.
Miles Craft is the brand. This was sent
Right.
to you for testing? Or did
I
you
believe
order
so,
it?
yes.
Or you ordered it?
I believe that
Okay.
was a sent one.
Okay, and so again, it's made so that you can attach it, but it's also got a handle here if you needed to hold it for some reason. The idea is that you've got the chuck here to put your drill bit. You attach your portable drill or even a powered drill if you've got the enough play in your cord there or an extension cord. And then that drill goes down, and then this springy thingy
It needs to be cleared.
Yeah, cleared and maybe oiled a little bit. But then it goes up and down. And again, it behaves like a drill press, but for a portable drill. And again, the idea here is that you're going to have this as a consistent template jig.
Right, because here's the idea. We'll do that in one of the posts. We'll find the circle, the center.
The center.
Then we're going to put a drill bit, and we're going to put it on that
See how it
center.
aligns.
And then, no, we don't need to see it. If this is in the center, then we're going to attach it to this. Because then that will tie everything together. Does it make sense?
Right.
So that is the plan. And what we're using for the actual attachment are those.
The connectors.
Should I open one or
Yeah.
we're going to lose it?
Well, let's hope not.
So one will go on in the middle here, the other on the other
So-
post. And
It's got threads on both sides. They're both pointy. And so you'll drill that in. We'll have to screw that in. And then the top piece will also be drilled, and then it'll just screw on, right?
right.
Okay.
And if for some reason we feel like we can still use pocket joinery, you know. I don't think we'll need it.
And this is called dowel screws, and this is the size we're using. And again, you purchase these with your own money.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And we are also going to put an epoxy glue here.
To help hold it in place.
No, actually, my reason for epoxy is more so if any water ever gets here, which I doubt it will, it will seal the wood
Okay.
both directions. So it will provide some strength, but the main reason is to seal the wood, or the
Okay.
main purpose of it, right? Does it make sense?
Okay.
So we're going to do it in every post as we have here. So this, you can see, the time that we're going to spend making this perfect will pay off. I mean, because
So prep on the front end will
Right.
will make the process go much
because
faster.
otherwise not only measuring will be too long, but I think will never be as accurate. And we
Okay.
want this to match. As you notice, when I put it up there, they match pretty good.
Yeah.
We made sure we put the correct, we bought the correct dimension of 4x4.
And what do you mean by that?
Well, like we know, dimensional lumber is not dimensional, right?
Right.
There are slight differences. So if you buy, let's say, pressure treated 4x4s, they're actually a little bit bigger than this.
Okay. So these, when they built the deck originally, they did not use pressure treated wood, but it's sealed with the paint or whatever it is that they used here, and so that's okay.
Correct.
But we want to make sure that you got the same one so they'll match up correctly and not be a different dimension.
Right, and the idea is that when we paint it, there will be a faint line here, but it will not be visible
Okay.
for practical purposes.
Right.
So take care here, to make a perfect center in your first post, right? In our case, we used our little
Center finder.
center finder, but there are other ways to do it. And because this is critical, we also triple check that we are at the center, right? So make sure that this is a critical component of this operation.
Our post is 3.5 inches wide, so the 1 3/4 is the half mark, and it was both ways lined up.
So we are happy that we are correct where we are at this moment, right?
Yes. So now we have the drill press attached here, or centered on here with the drill bit, and we're attaching it to the jig that was built to fit very snugly around each post. We're installing this with screws, and we're also going to use a washer here.
This is probably the most critical part of the whole build, as a mistake here will slow you down and will make things much more difficult down the road. So be careful.
There we go.
And this is our own design, by the way, right? We haven't seen
Right.
anyone doing this.
Right.
Again, take your time here. Any mistake here will cause you a lot of pain down the road. If you need to do that 2 or 3 times, do it until you do it right, and do a lot of testing to ensure that everything is aligned correctly. This is a very critical part of the operation. Okay, and then we're going to make a mark here because we need the reference side, right?
So we're going to know that this is always the inside side. And again, what we did is we marked the post, we built the jig to go around it very snugly, then we put this over it, brought the drill bit down so that it's on center with the point, and then we attach this to the jig. So now it will be in the same spot every single time we put it on a post.
Okay. Referencing will negate any errors in case you are not 100% perfect. Any sign will do. I mean, it is not
Yeah, whatever works for you, just the way that you know that it's marked correctly. Now this also will have the handle oriented out, but again, just as a point of reference. So the last thing we need to do is also mark with a piece of tape how deep we need to drill with the drill bit. So we're using the double-ended screw here that we bought. I know there's a special name for it, but it's escaping me. Just to mark how deep we need to go. And then once we reach that tape, we know that we've gone far enough to get the bit.
Remove that. There was a chuck with it.
Ah, okay.
Remember?
So we have to find the chuck to make sure that our drill
I have
bit
the
is
chuck
tight.
for the.
Yeah. Proof of concept. Here we go.
Okay. Now we have to
Excellent.
remove this.
Uh-huh. Excellent.
Okay, so this is our first
Post.
post, and this is our test post, right? We're going to make the middle hole, and we're going to see if it attaches correctly.
Okay.
So our first post is up, but as we're looking at it, our jig will not work on the post that's close to the house because the post is very close to the house, right?
Mm-hmm. And because the jig has, it's got like a 1/2 inch, a bit of wood, it won't go next to the house. So
we're going to use a modified jig. We took a piece of the same type of lumber, and we made the correct hole, right?
Using the jig.
Using the jig, and now we're going to use this as a temporary jig. We're going to put it over here and clamp it, and then using a hand process, we know where the hole's supposed to be, right?
And so basically you'll just go deep enough to mark where it should be.
Right.
Okay. All right, so we'll get set up to do that.
All right.
Okay, so we've got our temporary template in place here and the hole, and we're going to go and drill it with a freestanding drill.
Freestanding.
Freestanding. Handheld as opposed to not in the press. Mm-hmm.
Do I know how deep I can go?
All the way. Go all the way. Okay, excellent.
Okay.
Okay, now we need to put it on another one on the rigid and attach it. So
Okay.
try to lock it.
So we're using a drill with a chuck so that we can tighten it around the threads of this and use that to drive that into the post. So making the tool do the work for us, right?
Well, it will be very hard to do it otherwise, you know. Mm-hmm. You can also use a nut and make it. I mean, there are many ways, but this works fine.
Okay.
All right,
So
and
now
now
we're gonna try
we're
it?
going to go in and install it.
Okay.
Install it.
The one thing you will have to watch for sometimes is the chuck will slip, so you may need to tighten it a little bit more. But you can see that it is going in.
You need to give it as much power as you can. Are we out of battery? Okay, let's stop.
Oh,
Can you check
batteries
underneath
are important.
there is
Okay, so we adjusted the clutch to give it enough power to get in there because it was kind of stalling out. Now it's fully seated, and the next step is to drill the upright, just like we did here, so that we can then attach it here. Now, what is our challenge here? Because we can't necessarily turn it like we were
Right.
before, so the plan is to...
to make the hole bigger, we'll just have it rest. I mean, that is enough especially here with the door. I mean, the reason we have this is so no one can accidentally knock it over, right?
Right, right.
And here with us being very close to the house, that's even a less chance, right?
Right.
So
So the idea is this is just going to help hold it in place so that nothing can knock it one way or the other, right?
yes.
Okay. So because our jig is very snug, we need to use the mallet to knock it in place and have it be flush with the top of the post.
It cannot be anymore. It's touching.
It doesn't need
She's
to be
gonna bring
more.
it up a
Move
little
it
bit.
over.
Okay.
Okay.
You have to do it. I cannot do it. I'm too low. Or do you want to record and repeat that?
You can take it down another step, can't you?
Yeah, but then I will still be the same problem.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, so now the post is drilled. We need the mallet again to bring that back up. Again, because it's very snug. That was by design.
All right. And now we're going to use a bigger drill bit because we
We need-
cannot rotate this force the way we did the first one.
Right,
So
so
it needs to sit down on the. So we need to remove that and put a bigger size, please.
okay, so we've gotten the biggest drill bit we have in the set that we brought out here. We're going to give that a try.
Am I straight up and down?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Go up.
I didn't go all the way down.
That's okay. Bring me one of the things. I think it is. All right. So we're going to enhance the hole. Enhance it. Okay. We're still a little bit short. I mean, a little bit tight. I don't know if the
Can do
weight
it
of it.
again.
I don't know if the weight of the thing will be enough to bring it down, but
What do you think you were going to see in there?
no idea. Okay, let's try. Apparently, during our last expedition, we did not have a good blade. And some of our followers say, well, you need a better saw. Well, the problem was not the saw. And in case you didn't know, when you change blades in saws, you need 5 hands. Because whoever designed these systems decided that humans have more hands than they actually do have. Just for reference, this is a reverse screw. It is actually a left tight. Is that reverse threads? That's what it's
Yeah,
called.
and the reason is because
When the saw operates, it actually tightens the screw versus loosening it. Okay, there is a button here. Can you press it for me? That will be the lock. As you see, you need like 58 hands. You have it?
Yep.
Okay. And that's it.
Okay.
Now, another neat, a lot of the modern saws have this neat feature that the tool.
the Allen wrench has
Yeah.
a place.
So now we're going to mark 6 inches on each board, and we're going to make a dado.
Okay,
All right?
but we need to set the blade depth as well, right?
Yeah. What a difference a blade made.
Indeed.
Remember how we were struggling before?
And so what we're doing now is making a notch. We've set the blade depth. And we're going to make a notch so that we can sister these two boards.
We don't need that, sweetie. Can you do it, please? You have to press that. It doesn't have to be perfect. Just as close as you can between them.
Press what? I have to press both at the same time?
Yes. It's the you don't have to hold it, press. You don't want to hold it pressed. You just press it until it starts and then you can release.
Sorry.
That's okay.
Okay, so we've got the board notched, and we're going to take the hammer and tap these all out, and then we'll clean it up and do the second board the same way, and then they will sister together and sandwich, and it'll make one longer board, right?
Okay. So now what I would do is take a hand sander with the coarsest paper we have. 60 is what we have. What is the worst? And just clean it.
Okay.
But this is kind of fun, don't you think?
Yeah. Okay. And this board is 1.5 inches deep, so we took off 3/4 of an inch, which is half. Again, we'll clean this up. We'll do the same thing on the other board and then sister them together, and then it creates one stronger board for the length that we need, right?
Yes. What you're watching here is in real time and normal speed. A good sander does a quick workout of this, so take your time and you're going to get an excellent result. You will not have to spend a lot of time, just use as much of an aggressive paper as you have on your sander. Here we use about a 60 grit paper, and as you can see, it took just moments to take the very rough surface and make it a very, very soft surface. Just be careful and use as rough grit paper as you have. Your sander, however, has to be fairly strong. A very weak sander will not do a very good job here. But as you can see, our sander, this is the gel that we've shown in many videos. It is a quite powerful sander, and once we switch the speed to the highest speed that the sander has, it made a very quick work. Again, it took under 2 minutes to go from a very rough to a very, very smooth surface, as you're going to see in a moment. Just look how smooth this is. Hard to believe how hard it was just a couple of minutes ago. So again, you don't have to have a lot of expensive equipment. Just use your sander, a little bit of patience, and you get amazing results. We were very, very pleased with the way these joints end up looking and end up fitting together.
Daughter, take 2. I said take 2. So we use this triangle square, yeah, to make sure that the first line is lined up. The rest of the cuts don't need to be straight.
No, because we cut them off, right?
But we want to make sure the first one is square.
Yeah, that's the only one that matters. And it has nothing to do with my inability to cut square. Nothing at all.
Nothing at all.
No.
Right. More destruction. We like this.
then the same process, we're going to use the
Sander to
The
smooth it
sander?
out. Okay.
and then a load of glue.
A load?
Yes.
What's a
of glue.
load?
You know, like a load.
A load. Okay.
All right, so let's move on. So here we are.
We're always here.
No.
What's
sometimes,
new?
Sometimes
But
we're
what's
there.
new? But we're always here wherever we are. So
But
what's
sometimes we're
what's
there.
new with where we are
Hey.
right now?
Hey, watch it.
What's
So,
new?
We are finished, and can you see on the side? We are pretty happy with this outcome.
Yeah. So it looks pretty good.
Now, a short reason why we did this. You could buy a board this dimension, right? We had no way of transfer it, and that's one of the things of we. Even though Mrs. DIY thinks that I have every tool in the world, I
You
don't.
don't?
You know, and definitely we don't have the ability to transfer those large boards, 16 feet boards, 18 feet boards.
Right. And so how much we needed here was 16 something?
196 inches, whatever that is,
Mm-hmm.
right? 16, right?
Okay.
And that's too big board. I don't even know they make that big board. I know they make 12.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure they make 16, right?
Okay.
But we had no way of transferring a 16-foot
So
board.
for your purposes, you purchased two 10-foot boards.
Right, that was the most economical option, right? Because we have a little bit of waste now.
Right. And so you took the 196 that we needed, we divided that in two, and then added 6
Correct.
to make the little section here, because this is a
Right.
6-inch section from here to here. And so,
That provides gluing surface, and we're going to also use screws to attach this together. So
screws.
the next step will be to put a lot of glue here.
A lot of glue.
A lot of glue.
Okay.
Let's glue it. And if we have something to spread it,
And this is
You have a spreader in the shop.
yes, that's fine.
For this.
Yes, I think this is almost out, honey.
Okay, we've got these two boards cleaned up. We're ready to glue.
All right. And we're going to use Tide
They're
Bond
over
3
there. Yeah.
because it's exterior rated.
Woo! Got some glue.
That's lots of glue. He said, open it up and just pour it out.
Well, it
That's
did.
what the foreman said.
It did open up and just pour out, didn't it?
And I guess, what is the special tool we're using, Elpida?
It's an icing decorator spreader thing.
From the Dollar Tree.
Right.
Because expense has never been an issue for our channel.
Right.
Okay. Let's move it. I don't want the glue.
You don't want the glue on the board?
No.
We've got glue on the board.
So line them as well as you can, or as good as you can.
Gooder.
Better. Okay.
Hold this. I need to lift this up.
So this whole section got left out apparently.
All right. Can you repeat
We-
what you said?
We got glue. We glued this up really good. And now we're gonna put these together. We flip the board that was here over on top of that one. We
You
use
can
the
probably see the
spreaders.
seam
Yep, you
here.
can see the seam there. Amazing. Gonna use some screws to make sure this board stays together.
And we use Tide Bond 3.
Yep, of which you're gonna order more because,
We didn't have enough.
well, we had enough for this. But you need more for later.
Right. And Tide Bond 3 is external rated screw. So this is an external project.
And so there's no rhyme or reason to how we're putting these in. It's
No.
just to hold the boards together.
Right.
And now we can see some of the glue coming out on the side because they're being sandwiched together really
Which is
well.
what we want.
That is what we want.
Do you want more, Mrs. DIY? More screws?
I think this one should be last. Sure.
Because those will be visible. I guess we're going to paint this. What is the plan?
I don't know, probably.
Okay.
Okay, so we're gonna flip it and put more screws on the other side?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so to accelerate our process, we actually put the two boards together because it's the same thing, and then we'll just put them end to end and flip them the same way we did before, but we're accelerating our process by making the cuts at the same time. And we do have them clamped together so they stay in place. And now we're gonna do the destructo work with the hammer.
Start here, way. Start on that side, yeah. Don't be afraid. Knock them.
I am knocking.
You're being
Doesn't want to
gentle.
go that way. Seems that some people don't make as many grooves as other people do. And it makes it a little bit more challenging.
You want me to make more grooves? I'll make more grooves.
You probably need to. Woo. Okay, so the cleanup process is the same. Again, we knock out all the pieces that we've grooved out here, and then we'll take the sander and sand them all flat, and then daughter up the boards again.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, we
something
got guard dogs on high alert now, and we've got all the pieces that were sawed out there taken out.
We can hear you. The lavalier will hear you if you don't.
It's hearing you then.
I know, but you stopped talking, so that's why I'm saying.
Well, anyway, so we're sanding this off again.
And this way just save some time.
Yep.
So here we are. We didn't get as far along as we wanted, but the beginning of every such project is always the hardest part, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we have the two posts up. Only what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 to go.
Okay.
But we have the two beams assembled,
Mm-hmm.
and that took quite some time, right?
Yes.
We made a mighty good mess here
Indeed we did.
on our deck, and we didn't use our super duper soap, did we? Today?
No. This was the shop annex.
So we are done for today. We are kind of tired and grumpy, all of us.
Yeah, and to avoid making mistakes, we've decided to stop for today because we've noticed that the more we try to push through,
Right,
the more likely we are to make a mistake, and this is a pretty big project. We don't want to do that.
correct. So we're going to continue, and there will be a part 2. Part 2. We hope you learn. We are a lot of original things. The jig is original, right? Of course, dottering board is not original. It's something that is good to know how to do, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're designing this from the ground up for our purposes, and I think we've given good explanations of our decision making. For example, why we are making the connections the way we are, and of course, as we're finding, the frustrating thing for me is that the lumber is not exactly the dimensions we expect it to be.
Mm-hmm.
So I went to a great deal of calculations and preparation to make the jig perfect, and we still have 3 of the 4 sides perfect and 1 not.
Right.
So, it's a little bit frustrating, but I guess it is what it is, right?
Short of taking the deck railing apart and putting in all new posts, this is going to be it.
And we don't want to do that because this is supposed to be an inexpensive roof project. Down the road, we might actually tear the deck up and make it the whole length of the house. So I don't want to spend a lot of money on this project,
Okay.
But if you enjoyed this video, we'll appreciate a thumbs up. If you did, then a thumbs down works as well. Share, like, subscribe. Let us know what else you might want to watch, and if you enjoyed the video like this. From Professor DIY, Mrs. DIY and Elpida, stay safe, friends.